The bustling city of Bahraich in Uttar Pradesh was recently shaken by a wave of communal violence that left its streets scarred and its citizens grappling with fear and uncertainty. The peace of the city was shattered as clashes erupted between two communities, turning neighbor against neighbor. The air was thick with tension, and the echoes of violence reverberated through the narrow lanes of the city. The violence, sparked by a seemingly insignificant dispute, quickly escalated into a full-blown riot, engulfing the city in chaos. Shops were ransacked and set ablaze, homes were attacked, and places of worship were desecrated, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. The authorities struggled to contain the violence as the city descended into anarchy. The events in Bahraich served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of communal violence that continues to plague many parts of India. The violence left behind a deep sense of trauma and insecurity among the residents, many of whom were forced to flee their homes in search of safety. As the dust settled, questions lingered in the air, demanding answers. What were the underlying causes of this sudden eruption of violence? And how could such incidents be prevented from happening again? The people of Bahraich, still reeling from the shock, yearned for justice and a return to normalcy. In the aftermath of the violence that had shaken Bahraich, the Uttar Pradesh government swung into action, launching a series of demolition drives targeting properties allegedly linked to the individuals accused of involvement in the riots. Bulldozers rumbled through the streets, reducing homes and businesses to rubble, as the authorities sought to make an example of those they believed were responsible for the unrest. However, the government's actions were met with mixed reactions. While some lauded the swift response, viewing it as a necessary step to restore law and order, others raised concerns about the potential for injustice and the targeting of individuals based on their religious affiliation. Critics argued that the demolition drives were being carried out without following due process, with little regard for the rights of those affected. Allegations surfaced that the authorities were selectively demolishing properties belonging to members of a particular community, fueling suspicions of bias and a lack of impartiality in the government's actions. Families claimed they were being punished for the alleged crimes of their relatives, even though they had no involvement in the violence. The demolition drives in Bahraich sparked a debate about the use of such measures as a tool for maintaining law and order. While the government maintained that the demolitions were necessary to deter future violence and send a strong message to those who sought to disrupt peace, critics argued that such actions amounted to collective punishment and undermined the rule of law. Amidst the controversy surrounding the demolition drives in Bahraich, a glimmer of hope emerged from the Allahabad High Court. A group of concerned citizens, deeply troubled by the government's actions and the plight of those affected by the demolitions, filed a petition before the court, seeking its intervention to halt what they deemed as unjust and illegal actions. The petitioners argued that the demolition drives were being carried out in violation of the law, without affording the accused individuals a fair opportunity to be heard or to defend themselves against the allegations leveled against them. They contended that the government's actions were arbitrary and amounted to a blatant disregard for the principles of natural justice. The petitioners also raised concerns about the discriminatory nature of the demolitions, alleging that the authorities were targeting individuals based on their religious identity rather than on the basis of evidence. They urged the court to intervene and protect the fundamental rights of those affected by the government's actions. The Allahabad High Court, known for its unwavering commitment to upholding the rule of law, agreed to hear the petition. This decision brought a ray of hope to those who had been anxiously awaiting justice. The stage was set for a legal battle that would have far-reaching implications for the protection of fundamental rights and the limits of state power. The Allahabad High Court issued a crucial order regarding the demolition drives in Bahraich. The court granted 15 days to the accused to respond to the notices under the Public Works Department Act. This decision was a partial victory for the petitioners and emphasized the importance of natural justice. The ruling provided respite to the accused, ensuring they had a fair chance to present their case. It reinforced the principle that no person should be condemned unheard. The court's decision highlighted that the state government's actions are subject to judicial scrutiny. Even in times of crisis, the rule of law must prevail, protecting individual rights.